Today we're going to be taking a look at ESC1, which is Active Directory Certificate Services vulnerability. It should be a pretty quick video, but I just want to highlight real quick that the course is still $24.99. It'll stay that way forever. Over on Simply Cyber, you can find it in the description. The proceeds that I receive will be going toward autism. So, but yeah, it's $24.99 for the course. And you can go ahead and just, if you want, the ESC1 is in here along with 2, 3, and 4. And yep, goes through MSSQL. It does pivoting. We have privilege escalation with both Linux and Windows within PowerShell, credential harvesting. We go through ASREP roasting, Kerber roasting, Bloodhound CE, password spraying, all those good things, and our initial enumeration, and you do all that within a server that you build. So that's all there. It's still for sale. It's still lifetime access for $24.99. Like I said, and also in the description, you'll see a YouTube 10. There's about 50 of them left. You can go ahead, use that, and you get 10% off. So over to here now. Let's go ahead and grab this guy right here. There we go. And so let's go ahead and let's do Certify. So Certify has a nice little wiki, right, for ADCS stuff. So Active Directory Certificate Services. We go ahead and open that up. We say Certify wiki. And we see this link or link, whatever it is, Certify wiki link right here, LY4K. And we can go down to privilege escalation, like right here. That's got ESC 1 through 16. I said today we're going to be focusing on ESC 1. So ESC 1, the reason that's vulnerable is because domain users have rights to be able to request certificates, right? And so they can request that certificate, and they can request it as another user, right? So request it with a different user principal name. So let's go ahead and we'll very first start off with a certify find. My fault. There we go. Certify find command here. Go ahead and hop up here. We'll do certify find. And we're just going to tell you, I already know the password for Alice.Wonderland here. And we'll say std out, which means to print it off to the screen. Vulnerable, which means, hey, I only want to see the vulnerable certificates. And then the password right here. So that user's password right here. We'll enter. And we see that this all starts to drop down. And we see that we do have this ESC1 like right here. Within the course, like I said, we also have ESC2, 3, and 4. So 4 is up there at the very top. But we can go ahead and we see this ESC1. So when we see that, we head over to the Certify Wiki, and we can start to look through this guy, like right here, and see what makes it vulnerable and everything else. So what makes this one vulnerable is, like I said, we have domain users who can enroll principals in here, right? And that means that we can utilize another user principal name, and our enrollment rights are also right here. We can also see that this is enabled, right? It's going to be true. We get our certificate authority here, which we will need. And we also get our template name, which we will need. We will need that certificate authority, that template name, make sure that it is actually enabled, right? And yeah, pretty much we can do this ESC1 attack now. Heading back over to the Certify Wiki here, we can go ahead and we can see this find SID. You're going to have to do this. Like right here, the Certify account, so we just go ahead and copy that. It's not like with everything else, it's kind of copy and paste kind of thing, but this one's kind of hidden. Nowadays, you're going to have to do this with the SID because of how Windows works. So we go again and give it a username, Alice.Wonderland, password. There we go. And then the domain controller IP address. So I'm just going to ping the subject real quick. This is the domain controller. There we go. And we get that like right there. And we're going to look at administrator, and then we're just going to try to read the SID. Something to make sure of is that this user does exist. Hey, when I was working at one organization, a guy had ESC1. It's really the most simple one. It works every time you see it. It pretty much works as long as the things that I showed you up top are true. That is enabled. We do have domain users, everything else. But yeah, he couldn't get to work, and the reason was because the administrator account was actually disabled. Okay, you can't delete it on Windows, but you can disable it. That's actually why he couldn't get to work. It was pretty funny. Once we figured that out, he just went out to Bloodhound, grabbed another domain admin, and threw that in there. So we're going to get the SID for this user. Then there we go. Okay, there's our SID. For the administrator account, we go ahead and just echo this into administrator SID.text. That's fine. Okay, just to have it, sitting there for us so we can use it later on. Heading back out to the wiki, we see this request. We need to request certificate and put in a different user principal name. We request that certificate, put in that different user principal name. Oops, there we go. Okay, we can go ahead and we're going to say Alice.Wonderland, right? At simply.cyber. PS sign, ours is PS sign, SSW0RD exclamation point. So make sure IP address. Go ahead and grab that real quick, which is right here. Go ahead and throw in that to make sure IP address. The target, which is the fully qualified domain name of the certificate service, of the ADCS there, of the certificate service there server. To be able to find that, we can go ahead and you can use netexec or whatever else. But since we know the IP address already for it, we just go ahead and do an NXC SMB on that IP address. And we do see this DC simply.cyber. Okay, so that's going to be our target right there, dc.simply.cyber. We can also look through the certificate and find it. I believe if we go all the way up to the top here, we should be able to see it. And we do dc.simply.cyber. That's going to be a DNS name. So like I said, a fully qualified domain name there. So we'll just go ahead and we'll put that in there for our target. dc.simply.cyber. And Windows does not care about case sensitivity. All right, the certificate authority. That was something that we got above. So we can go ahead and scroll up to certificate authority. Our certificate authority is simply DCCA. Our template name. Okay, what's the name of that template? That template name is ESC or Vol ESC1. All right. Lastly, our UPN. So our user principal name, which we're going to say is administrator at simply.cyber, which that'll drop the administrator's account there, hash for us. We go ahead and throw in the administrator's SID like right there, hit enter, and we'll see that that row administrator.pfx. If I go ahead and cap my Etsy host, simply.cyber, okay, we see that I have 192.168.12.145 is within my Etsy host. We have simply.cyber, dc.simply.cyber, and we also have that certificate authority name like right there that we did up there, right? The certificate authority. We also have that in there too. So that did drop down, administrator.pfx, cool. Now we can utilize that PFX file for multiple different things. I believe netexec can actually use a PFX file. We do SMB, TAC help, prep for PFX. We actually can. So we can actually use a PFX cert, use certificate authentication for a PFX file. Or we can also just try to drop the hash for it too. That's the other thing we can do. Let's just go ahead and drop the hash for it. Within the course, you do learn how to use the cert and everything like that and be able to get in like that. But let's go ahead, we'll just drop this hash out like real quick. We'll do our administrator.pfx and then just our domain controller IP address here. And putting that into, KRB5 C name and everything else. So we grab this hash. Now we have that hash. We can go ahead and we also have an administrator C cache right there. But now we have that hash. We go ahead and do something like NXC, SMB on simply.cyber. TAC U is going to be administrator. TAC H, the hash. We hit enter there. And we do see that we do get pawned, which means that we can read and write to that admin $ group. So if you all learned something, it's super easy to mess with certificates. That user that we had, they were not anything special. They were just a regular domain user. We can actually check that just like this. We do like attack X, net user, Alice.Wonderland. But yeah, they were not a special user. There was nothing special about them. They are in the administrators group, as you can see, like right here. Okay, they're not. There's nothing about them that any other user might not have. They, remote management user. That's just because of the course. We have to be able to WinRM in the machine. But you don't even need that. So you see at that CertPy what it can actually do and how quickly someone can become a domain admin if you have certificate vulnerabilities within an Active Directory environment.